Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to jump in.
Well, today we're looking at a recent FDA approval, and I think it's going to be a big deal for people struggling with obesity.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and a specific sleep disorder.
Interesting. A sleep disorder and obesity.
That's a really surprising connection, honestly. We'll be breaking down a press release straight from Eli Lilly and Company.
Okay.
It's dated December 20th, 2024, announcing this new FDA approval.
Exciting.
So Eli Lilly and Company announced the FDA approval of Zepbound.
Zepbound.
It's also known as tirzepatide.
Okay.
And get this, it's not for just one condition, but for two.
Two.
It's for treating both moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, that's also called OSA,
Okay, OSA.
and obesity in adults.
Wow, so this is the first medication to treat both at the same time.
Exactly. This is a big deal. Now, some people might be thinking, what's the big deal about snoring? But OSA is much more than just snoring.
Oh yeah, definitely. It could be really serious.
Yeah, Julie Flygare, the CEO of Project Sleep, says it best. She says it's a serious sleep disorder that needs more open conversations between patients and their healthcare providers.
Yeah, it's not just about snoring.
Yeah.
Like when your breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep
Right.
because your airway gets blocked.
It can be really scary.
Yeah, and it can lead to all sorts of problems like feeling tired all the time.
Yeah, daytime sleepiness.
And even more serious health problems later on.
And a lot of times people don't even know they have it.
That's true.
They just think they're tired for some other reason.
Right.
So this new approval could be huge. It could be a solution for two major health problems with one medication.
That's the dream.
Right?
It really is.
I mean, imagine finally getting a good night's sleep without waking up all the time.
Waking up refreshed and energized.
Yeah. And not just that. Losing weight can also help with OSA. But this drug actually targets those breathing disruptions directly, too.
So it's helping on multiple levels. It is. And the impact on people's quality of life could be enormous.
Absolutely. And the press release highlights the SURMOUNT OSA Phase 3 clinical trials, where they tested Zepbound, and the results are really impressive.
Oh, wow. What did they find?
They found that Zepbound was 5 times more effective than a placebo at reducing those breathing interruptions.
5 times.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
People taking Zepbound had an average of 25 fewer breathing disruptions per hour, compared to just 5 fewer on the placebo.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
What's even more remarkable is how many people actually saw their OSA go into remission, or only had very mild OSA after being on Zepbound for a year.
Oh, wow. So they basically didn't even have OSA anymore.
Well, yeah, for some people. Between 42% and 50% of adults on Zepbound saw such a big improvement that they had either no symptoms or only very mild non-symptomatic OSA after a year.
That's incredible. What about the people taking the placebo?
Only 14 to 16% of them had similar results.
So Zepbound really made a big difference, and some people might even be able to stop using their CPAP machines.
Those bulky breathing devices, yeah.
That would be a huge change for a lot of people.
Definitely a game changer.
And we can't forget about the weight loss aspect. Participants taking Zepbound lost an average of 45 to 50 pounds.
Wow.
That's a lot more than the 46 pounds lost by those on the placebo.
Yeah, that is significant. And it's really important because obesity is a major risk factor for OSA.
Right.
So losing weight can really help improve those symptoms.
And it's not just about OSA.
No, it's not. Losing that much weight could help with a whole bunch of other health issues too.
Absolutely. We're talking about things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, certain types of cancer, even joint problems.
Exactly. It's like a domino effect.
So by helping people lose weight, Zepbound could have positive ripple effects on their overall health and well-being.
It could really change people's lives for the better.
Okay, so we've talked about how effective Zepbound is, but how does it actually work?
Well, it works by activating 2 hormones in our bodies that play a role in regulating appetite and food intake. It's this dual action mechanism that makes it so effective for weight loss.
Okay, so break that down for me a little bit. We know it's effective, but how does it actually work in the body?
So Zepbound is what's called a dual-acting GIP and GLP-1 receptor agonist. I know that sounds complicated, but stick with me.
Okay, I'm listening.
GIP and GLP-1 are hormones that our bodies naturally produce, and they help regulate blood sugar levels and appetite.
Okay, so we have these hormones, GIP and GLP-1, and they control our blood sugar and how hungry we feel.
Exactly. And what Zepbound does is it mimics the effects of these hormones.
Oh, it's kind of like amplifying their signals.
Exactly. And this leads to a few key things. First, It slows down how fast your stomach empties.
Oh, so you feel fuller for longer after eating.
Exactly, like hitting the brakes on your digestion.
Interesting.
Second, it acts on the brain, in the areas that control your appetite. And it reduces those cravings and urges to overeat.
Wow, so it's not just about feeling full, but also about not wanting to eat as much.
Right. It's tackling the problem from different angles.
That's amazing. So we've got the brakes on digestion and reduced cravings. What's the third key effect?
It improves how sensitive your body is to insulin, which helps regulate your blood sugar levels.
And that's especially important for people with type 2 diabetes, right?
Exactly. They often have problems with insulin resistance.
This all sounds really promising, but the press release also mentions some potential side effects. It seems like that slower digestion could be causing some of them.
You're right. Slowing down how fast your stomach empties can lead to some, well, unpleasant side effects.
Like nausea or vomiting.
Yeah, and some people get constipated.
It's like your body needs time to adjust.
It does. It needs to get used to this new pace of digestion.
And the effects on the pancreas can also increase the risk of pancreatitis.
Especially for certain people.
Which is why it's so important to talk to your doctor.
Absolutely.
They can help you understand the risks and benefits for you and help you decide if Zepbound is the right treatment.
It's all about having all the information.
So we've talked about how it works, the benefits for obesity and OSA, and some possible side effects. What else should we keep in mind?
Well, it's important to remember that Zepbound isn't for everyone. The press release mentions some groups of people who should be really careful, or maybe not even use it at all.
Okay, like who?
Like anyone with a family history of medullary thyroid carcinoma, or MN2.
What are those?
They're types of thyroid cancer and endocrine disorders.
So people with a family history of those conditions shouldn't use Zepbound.
Right. There's a concern it could increase their risk.
That makes sense.
And of course, anyone who's had a serious allergic reaction to tirzepatide
Mm-hmm.
or any of the other ingredients in the medication.
Yeah, that's standard with any medication. You want to avoid serious allergic reactions.
Exactly. And they also talk about managing blood sugar levels, especially for people taking other diabetes medications along with Zepbound.
Right, because Zepbound can make those other medications work even stronger.
Exactly. And that can lead to hypoglycemia.
Which is low blood sugar.
And that can be really dangerous.
It seems like there's a lot to think about.
There is. But we haven't even touched on the impact this could have on our healthcare system and society in general.
Oh, that's a great point. It's not just about individual health.
Right. It's about the bigger picture.
So what kind of impact are we talking about?
Well, think about how much obesity and OSA cost. I mean, the cost of treating them, dealing with complications, and all the lost productivity.
So you're saying that if Zepbound can effectively treat both of these conditions and help people lose weight and keep it off, we could actually see healthcare costs go down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's still early, and we need more research to know for sure.
But the potential is there.
It is. Imagine a future where fewer people need expensive treatments for things like diabetes and heart disease.
And that would free up resources for other areas of healthcare, like research and education.
It's really exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is.
And we can't forget about the things you can't really put a price tag on, like how this could improve people's quality of life and the lives of their families.
That's so true.
Imagine someone who struggled with obesity and sleep apnea for years, finally feeling healthy and energetic and able to fully participate in life.
That's what it's all about. Sometimes we get so caught up in the technical stuff that we forget about the human impact.
You're absolutely right.
These stories of transformation are what make this field so rewarding.
Absolutely. It's about empowering people to live their best lives.
Okay, so we've explored the potential benefits for individuals and for the healthcare system and even society as a whole. But there's also the potential for over-reliance on medication for weight loss. Is that a concern?
Yeah, that's a valid concern, and it's an important conversation to have. While medications like Zepbound can be really helpful for weight loss, they're not a substitute for a healthy lifestyle.
So it's not like you can just take this pill and keep doing all the same unhealthy things.
Exactly. It works best when it's part of a bigger plan.
A plan that includes diet and exercise.
And behavioral therapy.
It sounds like a balanced approach is key.
It is, and education is really important.
People need to understand that medication is just one piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. And healthcare providers need to emphasize that and help their patients make those lifestyle changes that will benefit their health in the long run.
That makes me wonder about the long-term sustainability of Zepbound itself. Do we know if people gain the weight back after they stop taking it?
That's a good question. We don't have all the long-term data yet.
Okay.
but early indications suggest that some weight regain might happen, which is why it's so important to have ongoing support and strategies to help people maintain that weight loss.
So it's not a quick fix. It's about finding long-term solutions.
Exactly. Obesity is a chronic condition.
And it often needs ongoing management.
That's right.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about how Zepbound works, its potential benefits and risks, and even its impact on society as a whole. It's clear that this medication has the potential to be a game changer. But it's important to have realistic expectations and to talk openly with your healthcare provider.
I agree. It's a powerful tool, but it's just one part of the solution. It's about empowering people to take charge of their health.
To make informed decisions.
And to take a comprehensive approach to their health.
Well, I think this has been a great start to our deep dive on Zepbound.
Before we wrap up, though, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
We've been talking about the potential benefits of Zepbound for obesity and OSA. But what other surprising connections are there between seemingly unrelated health conditions?
Ooh, that's a great question. Maybe we should explore that in a future deep dive.
I think we should.
Well, on that note, stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive on Zepbound.
We'll be back soon.
See you then.
You know, it's interesting to think about the potential impact this could have on the healthcare system as a whole.
Yeah, it's not just about helping individuals, right?
Right. I mean, the cost of treating obesity and OSA is huge.
Yeah, it really adds up.
And that's not even counting all the complications that can arise.
And lost productivity.
Exactly.
So if Zepbound can effectively treat both of these conditions and help people lose weight and keep it off, could that actually lead to a decrease in healthcare costs?
It's definitely possible.
It would be amazing.
It would. It's still early, though. We need more research to really know for sure.
But the potential is definitely there.
Yeah, just imagine. Fewer people needing those really expensive treatments for diabetes and heart disease.
And all those resources could be used for other things like research and even education.
Exactly.
It's pretty mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is. And let's not forget about the things you can't really put a price tag on.
Like what?
Like quality of life.
Oh, yeah, of course.
For individuals and their families.
That's huge.
It is. Think about someone who's been struggling with obesity and sleep apnea for years. And finally, they're able to sleep through the night. They have more energy.
They feel better about themselves.
They can participate in life more fully.
It's life-changing.
It really is.
You know, sometimes I think we get so caught up in all the technical details that we forget about the human impact.
It's easy to do.
But these stories of transformation are really what make this field so inspiring.
Absolutely. It's all about giving people the tools to live their best lives.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits for individuals, for the healthcare system, even for society as a whole. But we also have to talk about the potential downsides.
Of course.
Like, what about the possibility of people becoming too reliant on medication for weight loss?
That's a valid concern. And it's a conversation we need to be having.
Definitely.
Medications like Zepbound can be incredibly powerful tools, but they're not a magic bullet.
You can't just take a pill and expect everything to be fixed.
Exactly. They work best when they're part of a comprehensive approach.
So diet and exercise are still important.
Absolutely.
Along with therapy and support.
It's about making sustainable lifestyle changes.
And that takes effort.
It does. But it's worth it.
Education is also crucial. People need to understand that medication is just one part of the equation.
I agree.
And healthcare providers need to be really clear about that.
They need to help their patients make those healthy changes. That will benefit them in the long run.
It makes me wonder about the long-term sustainability of Zepbound itself.
What do you mean?
Well, do we know if people regain the weight after they stop taking the medication?
That's a good question. And honestly, we don't have all the long-term data yet.
Okay.
But some early research suggests that there might be some weight regain.
So it's not a permanent solution.
Not necessarily. Which is why it's so important to have that ongoing support and to develop strategies for maintaining weight loss, even after stopping the medication.
It sounds like obesity is something you have to manage over the long term.
It is. It's a chronic condition.
And it requires a long-term approach.
Exactly. It's not about a quick fix. It's about finding sustainable solutions that empower individuals to take control of their health.
I like that. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot today. We talked about the potential impact of Zepbound on the healthcare system, the importance of a balanced approach to weight loss, and even the possibility of weight regain.
We did. It's been a really interesting discussion.
It has, and it highlights how complex these issues really are.
They are. And there's still so much we're learning.
But that's what makes this field so exciting.
Absolutely. There's always something new to discover.
Well, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier, the connection between obesity and other health issues.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It is, and I think it deserves a closer look.
Definitely.
So let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive on Zepbound.
Sounds good to me. We were talking about how obesity is connected to all these other health problems.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect.
Exactly. And since Zepbound helps people lose weight, it could potentially improve a lot of these other conditions too.
So where should we start?
Well, let's talk about type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
Obesity is a huge risk factor for type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Something like over 90% of adults with type 2 diabetes are overweight or obese.
Wow, that many.
It's a really strong link.
So if Zepbound helps people lose weight, it could help them manage their diabetes better.
Exactly. It could lead to better blood sugar control. And for some people, maybe even remission.
Remission, wow, that would be incredible.
It would. No more insulin injections or all those other medications.
That would be life-changing for a lot of people.
It really would.
And it's not just diabetes, right?
No, not at all. Obesity also puts a lot of strain on your heart and blood vessels.
So it increases the risk of heart disease?
Yeah, things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol.
Heart attacks and strokes.
Exactly.
So if Zepbound can help people lose weight and keep it off, it could potentially lower their risk of all those scary complications.
That's the idea.
It's amazing to think about the ripple effects.
It is. And we haven't even talked about the musculoskeletal system.
Oh, yeah, our bones and joints.
Carrying around extra weight puts a lot of stress on your joints.
Yeah, I can see that.
It can lead to osteoarthritis, back pain, problems with mobility.
So Zepbound could help with all of that, too.
Potentially, by taking some of that pressure off the joints.
Less pain, more mobility.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is. Obesity is linked to so many health problems.
Like what else?
Certain types of cancer, fatty liver disease.
We already talked about sleep apnea.
Even mental health conditions like depression.
Wow, it's really interconnected.
It is. Our bodies are complex systems.
And everything is connected.
Exactly.
So addressing obesity could have a positive impact on so many aspects of our health.
Absolutely. It really highlights the need for a more holistic approach to healthcare.
Looking at the whole person, not just individual symptoms.
Right. And understanding these connections between seemingly unrelated conditions.
Finding treatments that address the root cause.
Exactly.
It sounds like Zepbound has the potential to change how we approach obesity.
It does. And how we treat all these related conditions.
But it's not a miracle cure.
No, it's not.
It's important to have realistic expectations and to talk to your doctor to see if it's right for you.
Absolutely. It's a powerful tool, but it's just one part of the solution.
It's about empowering people to take control of their own health.
Making informed decisions.
And making healthy choices.
And it's about healthcare providers supporting their patients, helping them make those sustainable changes.
Well, I think this has been a really insightful deep dive.
Me too. We covered a lot of ground.
We learned about Zepbound, how it works, its potential benefits and risks, and its potential impact on obesity and all these related health issues.
It's a really exciting development.
It is, and it shows how much progress we're making in understanding and treating these complex conditions.
It's a reminder that knowledge is power.
The more we know, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions about our health.
Absolutely.
And I hope this deep dive has given our listeners some food for thought.
Some things to think about and discuss with their own healthcare providers.
Your health is a journey, and it's important to be an active participant.
Keep asking questions, keep learning.
And keep taking care of yourselves.
Until next time, happy deep diving, everyone.